From the rugged desert outside Yuma, Arizona, this is Outpost Outspoken. Outpost Outspoken is the official podcast of U.S. Army Yuma Proving Ground, which conducts natural environment testing of military equipment in Arizona, Alaska, and the tropics.
Welcome back to Outpost Outspoken. I'm your host, Ana Henderson. In this segment, we talk with Joel Ramirez. He's a man of many talents and hobbies and the current executive assistant to YPG's command group. Welcome, Joel.
Thanks for having me.
Let's start off by talking about your background. Now, you are homegrown, as we like to say here in Yuma. You went to school locally and played sports.
Yep, I was born and raised here in Yuma, Arizona. I went to Cibola High School for 3 years, where I was technically 4-year letterman, but I had to move my senior year in high school to Glendale, Arizona, where I attended Ironwood High School, which I was also on the varsity team for soccer and football. In football, we were 5A state champs for football and soccer. I had that opportunity to actually get those rings too, which was really nice.
After that, you served in the U.S. Army from 2013 to 2020. Tell me about what you did in the Army.
Originally, I went in as an M1 armor crewman. As an M1 armor crewman, I had various positions within the tank. Usually you start off with the driver's position, then you move up to the loader's position, and then the gunner's, and then you're a tank commander as to culminate the leadership portion of an Abrams tank. And I had the pleasure of going straight from a driver to a gunner, which was really nice because I was on the fast track. I was one of the older soldiers going into basic training. So
you ended up serving 7 years. And then what led you to Yuma Proving Ground?
So the last 3 years of me doing active duty, I had the pleasure of being the G3 NCOIC at Division Operations in Fort Stewart, Georgia. During that time, I was in a much higher leadership role than what my rank supported. So it helped me learn really quick the whole admin role, what all the different types of responsibilities I had, and being able to manage that in a timely manner. And when I got out of the Army and I came back to Yuma, I knew of YPG, I knew about what they did and what they were all about, and I wanted to be a part of that. I'm a big advocate in serving those who serve, because without people that helped us as soldiers, active duty soldiers, we wouldn't be where we're at today. So I really commend them for doing that, and I'm happy to be here for that. That's what led me to be here at YPG.
And how did your experience in the Army help you with your current position?
Yes, my last 3 years in active duty, I had the pleasure of being a G3 NCOIC, so that helped me with a lot of administrative duties that actually led me right into YPG, and I found a real knack at that, and I did really well. I had a lot of praise saying that I should make this my career, and I never thought in a million years I'd go from a tanker to an admin, but at the same time, I'm here to serve those who serve, so.
As an executive assistant to YPG's command group, who does that command group consist of?
So it includes the installation commander, it includes the technical director, the chief of staff, and the command sergeant major of the YPG installation.
All the decision makers.
All the decision makers, yes.
Okay, so in addition to your duties as an executive assistant, you also assist the YPG Executive Services Officer as a protocol assistant. What does that entail?
Yes, as a protocol assistant, that's one of those duties that I was asked just because I had a little bit of military background. The Executive Services Officer picked me out of everyone and asked me to assist him in an event that we had here at YPG, and he wasn't going to be here for that, but he had all the faith and knowledge in me to actually perform that, and I did really well, and I ended up becoming the protocol assistant as my ancillary duty.
Now let's talk about what you do outside of work. You keep busy with your family and with sports. You're an avid bowler and golfer. Tell me about some of your golf accomplishments. And I just want to let people know, because they can't see this, but you walked into this office with 3 gigantic trophies. So we need to know, where do these come from?
Well, the first big trophy it almost looks like a Stanley Cup. It's actually about as big as it. It's from our 14th annual Heads Up, which was a golf tournament in San Diego, California. And it was actually for a 501c3 group that I used to actually work for when I lived in San Diego for a little bit before I joined the Army. The owner actually reached out to me and knew I was somewhat local in Yuma, only 2.5 hours away. if I would like to participate in it. And I said, heck yeah, let's go. Where do I sign up? And we were able to get 3 others, one being my friend and 2 others who were a part of YPG, which was really nice. And we represented Arizona because we were the only Arizona team there. We went there with every intention just as a charitable contribution to Varsity Team Inc., which is the 501c3 I was talking about. And when we went through, all we wanted to do was just have fun and enjoy golf and enjoy the good weather because the San Diego weather is amazing. When we showed up, we went through all the spiel. We practiced a little bit. We went out on the range. And then we hit the golf course, and we just had fun the whole time. And come to the end of it that we ended up winning by like 4 strokes.
Wow.
Which was pretty amazing. We were shocked. We couldn't believe it. You know, you win some money in some of these charitable events with raffle tickets and 50-50 and things like that. So we ended up donating all the money back, which was really nice. And so we gave our contributions. And with that following, we were actually invited to the Randy Jones Invitational that's happening in February of 2025. And that's a tournament of champions, which will be all champions from California charitable golf tournaments, which is awesome because it's kind of giving homage to those who give back to their community and allow us to compete against each other to win an all-expense-paid trip to Pebble Beach, where in Pebble Beach, they'll fly us all directly there by a private jet, and we get to play at Pebble Beach for a round, which is really expensive for the average golfer that golfs.
Pebble Beach is a golfer's dream. So I hope you're practicing.
Yes, we've been practicing avidly, hitting up all of the golf tournaments that they have for benefits. We just recently we actually won the Gila Ridge Benefit Tournament. There wasn't too many teams, but at the same time, you know, we knew we were there for a good cause.
Tell me about some of your bowling accomplishments.
When I moved back to Yuma after getting out of the Army, I wanted to develop some type of hobby where I'm doing something active, you know, being a part of the community, being a part of a team. And I've always liked bowling as a kid. And I showed up one day, bowled a few balls down the lane, and a couple of people approached me. And they're like, hey, you're pretty good. Have you ever considered playing the leagues? I'm like, I didn't even know we had leagues here. They're like, yeah, they're USBC sanctioned leagues. You get recorded. Everything is awesome. You can qualify to go to the Open Nationals that are in different locations every year. It's really cool. They do a lot of fundraising, too, for this. For example, they have youth scholarships that it supports as well, so I was all for it. So I ended up joining the league. First year, I bowled my first 300, which I know the viewers can't see right now, but you get a ring for your first 300. All the rest of them you have to buy. Currently, I hold 3 300 rings.
Wow.
Still looking for my 4th, but I've only been bowling for 3 years. Competitively, I guess you could say.
So all of those sports you played in school growing up have paid off some way or another.
Yeah, they definitely have. And you know what? I do have to pay respects to my wife, who's definitely dealt with me being gone all that time. 1, for being in the service, and 2, for being away from practicing, bowling, golfing, whatever it may be. I try to incorporate her as much as I can, but, you know, there's only so much she can do.
Hey, it's all for a good cause.
Yes.
Any final words before we end our interview today?
Oh, no, I just want to thank God for, you know, allowing me to be here. And I would say gifted, but, you know, I'm just going out there to have fun, and being a part of a team is the best feeling for me. Being needed somewhere is also a great feeling. And again, I'm blessed to have my wife and my children who are supportive in every way. And I think ultimately my goal for doing all of these activities is to show my children that all this hard work will pay off eventually one day. And I hope they see that, and I hope they see that growing up, and it helps them out.
Well, Joel, thank you for your time today. Thank you for serving your country and for what you do here at YPG.
Sure, thank you.
Welcome back to Outpost Outspoken. I'm your host for this segment, Ana Henderson. Officer Austin Howard joins us today. He works for the U.S. Army Yuma Proving Ground Police Department. He also has a unique connection to YPG that he'll tell us about. So thank you for joining us today.
Not a problem.
Officer Howard, how did your connection with the YPG community begin?
So I grew up here. I know that's weird for some people to hear and say, but when I was born at Yuma Regional, which is in town, and then my parents already worked here. So it was just easier for them to take me to where they work, where they had childcare available, because that's right around the time they actually let contractors and GS employees and stuff use the program. And then after that, I just grew up on base, going to Price, going to the youth center, going to the child development center. And then when I went to middle school and high school, I didn't think I'd come back because I told my dad I'd never work out here. Look at me now. Here I am. I went back on my word, I guess.
And I think most people don't realize that YPG does have a community. So we have the Child Development Center, which is babies until preschool. Mm-hmm. And then we have James D. Price Elementary School, which is kinder to 5th grade. Yep. And then there's the before and after school programs. So you were here 4 days a week, maybe 5 if you're at school. And you also lived on base?
So for a short time, when I was first born, I was, and then they moved into town, but I still came out here. So it was weird because the school bus system wasn't really set up yet. It was kind of a struggle for them to figure that out.
What are some of the fond memories that you have about spending your childhood here at YPG?
One of them is that I've been in the house that I live in now because I live on post also.
Oh, okay. Wow, so, you really are fully invested here.
Yeah, people that say that they're a lifer with YPG, they don't understand. That's how I like to put it. I grew up next to that house for that short period of time, but I've been in the house that I live in now playing as a kid. And it's funny, the last name of the child that I used to play with in my friend group is still burnt into my house because they used to put name placards above the driveway. The address would be on the house. Well, Metcalf is still burnt into the driveway port. So that's how I know for sure that was the house, but I'm also very positive that I put one of the dents that are there's like these air grates that are on every door to let drafts go through. And I'm pretty sure that my shoulder put one of the dents in my daughter's door because I distinctly remember falling into that door and there's still a huge dent in the air grate and I'm pretty sure that's from my shoulder.
You first started as a security guard here, which most people, the workforce and the visitors, you're the first face we see when we're entering YPG as we get to those access gates. Are there people that you still remember from YPG and has anyone recognized you?
Yeah, believe it or not, I get recognized more from people I haven't met than people I have at the gate because my dad worked out here for 30 years. My mom worked out here for almost 20 years. There's a lot of people that see my last name and immediately ask me, hey, are you Neil's kid? Or hey, are you Lou's kid? Or I even get, hey, are you Magdalena's kid, who's my stepmom? So it's a lot of recognizing my last name more than my face, because now we're allowed to grow beards. So it's almost like a disguise. I didn't have a beard for the first 4 years I worked here, and now I do.
That's cool that also your parents made an impact, and I'm sure it feels nice for people to recognize them and recognize the name and talk about probably their time working together.
Yeah, I haven't heard any bad stories yet, so I think we're okay.
Well, that's always great. No bad stories. Okay, so after 3 years, you transitioned into working for the police force. Tell me about your job as an officer.
Being the officer that's more in charge of the community policing aspect, a lot of my main concern is making sure that everybody understands that we're here to help people. I know that's very cliche for police to try to do that stuff, but the fact of the matter is it wasn't being done enough, not just here, but everywhere. And that's why there's so many of them now. The fact is that when you're in the spotlight and you get the saying, bad apple falls from the tree, it makes all the apples bad, or one fruit in the patch with mold makes them all moldy, like, yes, that is the case, but that's not just in my job field. My goal is to reach out and talk to people, make them understand what our job really is and what we're really out to look for, rather than make them feel like they're being targeted all the time.
I think you are doing a great job with your community outreach. From what I've seen, people feel comfortable around you. I attended your Pops with the Cops event at the library, and it was very well attended. You gave the kids and their parents the opportunity to ask questions. Again, why would you say that this outreach that the YPG Police Department does is so important for the community here?
A lot of it is just knowledge transfer. So there's a lot of animals here that are on base. Just recently we had a ram that was walking around on Howard Cantonment. Even though it looks nice, that it can be dangerous, just like anything else. There's snakes, coyotes, stuff like that. And obviously we have a conservation law enforcement department in our group, but it's more about making sure they understand the dangers of everything, the dangers of the heat, and talking to them about why we're here and making them feel comfortable about it.
I remember at that event, some of the main questions were about wildlife and how to report a lost dog, and little things like that, that when you live in a community as small as this are things that are important.
Yeah.
I think the community does appreciate, you giving them that time to ask their questions. Is there anything else that you want to mention today?
No, I don't think so. Just if you see us in your rearview mirror, just know that we more than likely have already paid attention to everything that you're just now paying attention to. And we're not out to pull everyone over for every single reason. I'm just here to make everybody feel comfortable, and that's part of my job.
Alrighty, Will, thank you for your time today and also what you do for the YPG community.
Thank you.
This has been Outpost Outspoken. Thank you again for listening. We'll see you next time from the forefront of Army transformation.